Hey everyone, welcome to Warriors for Christ. Thank you for joining in. It's always a pleasure to come here and discuss the Word of Christ and discuss the body of Christ at large. So we definitely appreciate you. Today we got some fantastic men on board. We got Ski, and of course we got my main man Olin here, and these guys are great. Just men of God, and also when it comes to owning a business, and that's what we're going to focus on this evening is what type of mind frame that you need to have when trying to start or own your own business before money even gets involved, the planning that goes before you, and the strength needed to reach out and succeed in that plan. So we have three basic questions, but we're going to keep it kind of free open. We're just going to discuss, and I'm going to do my best to kind of keep us going forward in that mindset of what it takes and having in mind to pursue a business. Before we begin, um, I'm gonna let them introduce themselves. I can do it, but I probably will butcher it. So, guys, I'm gonna start with O. Of course, they know you, Olin. Introduce yourself, introduce your business, and maybe the year that your business started. And the same thing with you, Ski. After Olin, go ahead, O.
Well, name's Olin. Company name is Elevated Home. We do audio visual solutions. Basically, we install home theaters. Been in business now for about 7 months, 7 to 8 months now, and the business has been running strong.
Good.
Go ahead, Ski.
I'm ski, but I own Got Fish, and we're a seafood restaurant in the Hampton Road. Started out as a food truck, and we started in September of 2017.
Okay.
So a little over just hit 3 years. 3 years and like 3 or 4 months.
Okay. Olin, where are you based out of? Just in case, I'm gonna put the links and everything into the description so if people want to reach out to you. Olin, where are you based out of? Ski, we already know that you're based out of Hampton, Virginia. Ski, what about you?
I'm based out of, so I work areas from Baltimore, the DMV, Baltimore, DC, and all the way down to like Northern Virginia.
All right. Okay, so we're gonna dive right into this. And we're gonna focus on, like I said, having the mindset to want to achieve more and owning your own business. And this is something I think the body needs to hear. Whereas, we think that, when it comes to prosperity, many of us think, oh, God's going to rain from heaven. And, not understanding that prosperity means that you got to put in work as well. We know for sure that the Israelites or the Hebrews, they had to work hard to get the promised land. So like what,
Yeah.
when we promises, there's a working, there's a fighting, and that fighting is not necessarily trying to get a loan or something like that. We often have to fight with ourselves with strength and pursuit of our dreams and values. So that's where we're going to hit. That's where we're going to go at this evening. And I just want to start off with the question. I'm gonna do Olin's first, and then Ski, and then next time I'm going to Ski and Olin with the question. So our first question is, how do you prepare yourself mentally or spiritually to own and start a business? And you can tackle that question however you want. And like I said, you have time. We have time. So, Olin, go for, and put in perspective of you, like what you have
Mhm.
to do.
So for me personally, it's all spiritual. It's one and the same to me, because I had to be in a place where I not only heard from the Spirit, heard from the Holy Spirit, but then I acted upon what I heard and what He told me. Because there's a lot of times where I felt like, I tried to move on my own and start doing business or whatever, and nothing happened. Nothing came out of it. But or anything for that matter. But it's those times when I heard from the Spirit, and not only heard from the Spirit of the Lord, but I acted upon what He said, is when I start really seeing the prosperity of those actions. Because we can want and we can do all on our own, but if what we want and do doesn't align up with the Spirit and what He called us to do, then it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to go forth. So it's best that you align yourself up with what the Holy Spirit and what the Lord wants you to do. That's key, because at every step and every process of the step, even after you get into the business, even after it could be years, but no matter what, but every step that you take, it needs to line up and be able to hear. You first need to be able to know that you can hear from the Lord and be able to walk and do what he says. Because if not, you're going to find yourself in a situation where you have many doubts of what you're doing, many doubts of whether or not you should continue or wanted to quit. But when you know that you hear from the Lord and you know that you're doing what he called you to do, there's no doubts. There's no times that hesitation may come, times the struggle may come. But when you know that you're acting upon the strength of the Lord, the strength of the Holy Spirit, and know that you hear and that you walk in it, that's all I really needed at my back. Because it literally took one day I woke up and he was just like, move and move now. And I did, and things been flying ever since.
All right. Ski, before you go, I want to propose another question to and then like I said, you can think about this and answer the same question to you. Of course, this channel is we try to talk about believers, same thing, but we also want to reach out to unbelievers, and then hopefully they can come into the kingdom. So is there any what would you give to those that may not believe and are in tune to the Holy Spirit? What are some steps that they can take? Because like I said, we are for the kingdom, but we also want to benefit non-believers as well. So taking out the spiritual side, not saying we Christians take it out, but what if somebody's not in tune with the Holy Spirit, how should they proceed?
Was that for me or Ski?
That's for you, and then I want Ski to answer.
Okay. So you really that's hard for me to answer. I ain't gonna lie.
Well, we can come back to you. I know that just came up, like I said.
And the only reason I say that because for me, like I said, I'm just gonna read it. For me, it really was the Holy Spirit. It really took the Holy, because I wouldn't have done it. I would have had all the ideas. I would have yes, that's okay. Let me say that. So yeah, I knew how I wanted to look. I knew how I wanted to plan out and map out and stuff like that. It was just it all it really took for me is to go out and do it. Even I still didn't even have all the answers mapped out. But for me, like I said, it was a hard question for me to answer, is because I like to say that at least 75 to 90% of my actions is basically doing what I hear. Hear from the Lord. So that's why I said it's hard for me to answer that. So go ahead, Skip.
All right. So the original question is, how would you prepare yourself mentally or spiritually to own and start a business? Correct?
Yeah, that's correct, man. That's verbatim. Your mind is awesome.
So no, I have it written down over here.
You're humble then, because most people would just rant with it. You're humble.
If I didn't want to keep things written down.
If I didn't have Christian integrity, then I would have rolled with that. But no, man. And this is to be completely frank from my perspective. There's no way you can prepare mentally or spiritually to own and start a business. When you think about it, you go through the tribulation of fire, you go through you go through hardships, you go through things that you never experienced before in your life. So it's a whole tapped in area that you haven't even got into yet, and that you haven't even experienced yet. So like you can't fathom the things that you're going to experience because they just occur. So it's no way you can prepare for those things. I can say that you can prepare yourself to be rooted and grounded in faith. So as these things come up, you're able to react and respond accordingly to what's inside of you. I can say that you can prepare a solid foundation on what you believe in, which is faith. But the word of God, for me, says that Jesus is the chief cornerstone. He's the rock. He's our foundation. So if you have a strong foundation and you understand that the things that you're going to experience are first, like Olin was talking about, are spiritual and then natural, you begin to prepare that way yourself internally, according to the word. So therefore, when certain opportunities come and present themselves like a business opportunity, you can discern and make the right choice at that time. But as far as preparing for that, I don't think you can really prepare for that per se until you are prepared in self. You know what I'm saying? That's now, once you have, that's pre-idea or, preconception of the business or whatever the case may be. But once you have the idea and you understand what you want to do, or you have heard a word from the Lord, then it's easier to prepare for that because you have instruction. You have, say, for me, I had a vision on what I should be doing and what it should look like. And I was able to go off of that vision and begin to work towards that vision. But before that, the only thing I was preparing was myself to be upright in the Lord, or to be, a righteous man and to follow the word. So I guess that's the preparation that you should be focused on, ultimately. So that way, when you do get in business and you experience these things that you never would think of before, you're able to handle them and adjust accordingly. For a non-believer, the second part of your question would be, like I said, once you have that idea or that thought, taking the steps down to write everything out that you will need or that you can think of. For me, I didn't know anything about the food truck business. I'd never done it before, so I didn't have any help or anything like that. So what I did was I went to every city hall, every city I wanted to operate in, and I got a vendor's packet. And I began to read. So I had to make myself knowledgeable about the business before I could even start the business. So like my number one thing for anybody who's going to start a business, you should be knowledgeable about the business, and start to understand what you can and can't do. So for me as a food truck vendor, and this is going to be my livelihood, I need to know where I'm able to go and where I'm not able to go, where I'm going to get fined at, where I'm not going to get fined, where the people are. And then you got to start to scout. And then it's just different things that you do. So it's a lot of research and it's a lot of homework. So the educational part before getting into the business would be the most primary thing you can do to prepare. Once you have that idea down, and you're locked in on that, then I will begin to prepare that way.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you guys on everything that you guys said, especially with you, Ski, just saying like how you pretty much educate yourself. I remember coming to you because I even thought about trying to get into the business, and just remember all the things that you were saying. Getting your license and all that stuff. I still remember that conversation. So here we.
And then once you get your license, nobody tell you gotta pay taxes. And that's pretty much in like most industries. You can hear rappers talk about, they don't nobody tell you about tax. You know what I mean? It's like it's the unspoken thing, but it's there, but nobody educates you about it. You go get a business license, they don't tell you about taxes, So if you don't educate yourself and you get into the business, and then you can really screw yourself and your family up, because man, here these taxes come and you're not aware and you're not prepared and you don't have this money, and now the business is in debt, the household is in debt. You know what I mean? It could be really bad experience and a rough experience. So and you can't blame anyone but yourself. It's your knowledge. People perish for the lack of knowledge. You know what I'm saying? So as much as you're going to educate yourself and inform yourself and about your business, about your craft, whatever you do, the word says, do it unto the Lord, right? Wholeheartedly. So if this is if you heard from the Lord, or, even if you didn't hear from the Lord, and as an individual, you have a passion or desire to start a business in the area, then you should have a passion and desire to execute greatness in that area, be top notch, and change the way that area or that business or that genre looks at what you do. You know what I'm saying? And that should be the mindset and how you go in, just having that mentality to be great, to see it all the way through.
All right. I know we're not really talking about like the money aspect of this, but like I said, this channel is about helping people. What are some quick tips, if possible? Like I said, the whole taxes thing, I'm new to that as well. What are some quick tips to make sure that people may do their taxes right, or where they can get information to make sure they're doing your taxes correctly? So Ski, you answer that, and then Olin, if you have input, you can go after him.
Okay. For me, I'm in the food industry, so it's different. So it's two different industries. Food truck is different because you're in different cities and states. So you got different sales tax. State tax is statewide, but each city has its own local tax. So just being knowledgeable about that, like I said, going to City Hall, getting a vendor's packet, and then you want to see the commissioner of every city that you plan to operate in. And if it's just, you're doing a service like Olin does, then he just has to operate, for one business license wherever the business is housed at. Like for me now in the restaurant, I just have one for that particular city that is in. But getting with the commissioner, seeing what their rates and fees are, getting on the payment schedule, registering with them. And once you register with the commissioner, they'll send you out notifications and things like that. So that way that'll help you stay on track also. But getting that packet and asking questions, reading, and you'll get that knowledge.
Okay. What
Also on the SEC website, anytime you register a business, they teach you about the taxes and stuff like that. Also,
You said NPC website,
SEC.
SEC website.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. So if you're looking to get into business, you may be watching this later. SCC website, correct?
Yeah. .com. Yep.
.com. All right,
Yeah.
definitely check that out. And I wanted Olin to ask that question, but he didn't. He tuned out. I don't know if the connection was lost. But what are some mental or spiritual things that came against you when you were preparing? That's one of the things when y'all were talking earlier. When y'all first started talking, that came to mind is like, what were some of the obstacles that
Yeah.
you had to overcome? Because I want people to know that when they get started, they're gonna come against obstacles.
Yeah. Yeah.
You being human, if you can make it through that, maybe it'll encourage them to want to continue through as well.
Facts. No, man, obstacles yourself. I think that's number one, yo. Like your biggest obstacle is you. You know what I mean? Especially when you hear a word from the Lord and you're clear on your vision, and as you're going forward, your purpose is being revealed. You become more confident in who you are, and then these obstacles come around, and it's like, man, I had this confidence, during this phase, but now it's a different season. You know what I mean? It's obstacle after obstacle, so you gotta rely on what you already been through and having that faith. You know what I mean? But it's all in it's mental. You know what I mean? It's being mentally strong. Be renewed in the spirit of your mind. So your spirit is linked to your mind. So having that mental strength is the same as having spiritual strength. So being in prayer really helps out with that, with having a relationship with God, and helps out with the mental strength and spiritual strength to help you get through. But man, it's a mental challenge, the whole thing of it, because it's how you're going to react to stuff. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, life is going to happen. You're not going to have a perfect run at this. You know what I mean? Nothing's going to be perfect. So you're going to have the ups and the downs. But as you're going through, it's really how you choose to react to things determines how bad they really are. And in the beginning, because for me, it was so precious. It was my baby. You know what I mean? I care so much, and it's my livelihood. It's still all of those things. I would overreact, when things happen, and it would be more dramatic than what it needed to be. You know what I mean? Because I cared so much. I was so passionate, but I had to learn how to control that passion, and how to learn how to control my reaction. And in that, things weren't as bad as they were. You know what I'm saying? So things would come up. I would be able to think more clearly on how to solve and bring a solution to the problem, rather than be bogged down by the problem. In the early stages of the business, I was really bogged down by problems because of I know I was mentally and physically tired. Man, you talk about sufferings. I suffered mentally, I suffered spiritually, I suffered physically when I started the business. At one point I was working so hard that I got shingles up the whole right side of my body. Wow. You know what I mean? And my immune system was down. I'm overworking myself. And, like I said, so your biggest obstacle is you. You know what I mean? Learning how to control you, how to control that mind, having that good relationship with God, and not getting burnt out. You know what I mean? And I had good problems, but nonetheless problems. I was overly busy and didn't know, how to properly handle the overflow at that time, because it just came out of nowhere, so I'm taking it all in and getting washed in, and my cup is running over. But man, you ask for your cup to run over, but man, if you don't really understand what that looks like, that's craziness, because man, it's chaotic at sometimes. And it's like, you think it's chaotic, but it's not. It's just, this is the Lord showing you that you can't ask for enough. You know what I mean? It's just, you know what I mean? It's running over, and it's like, man, I got good problems because I don't know what to do. So, now I got to use my brain, but I'm fatigued, you know what I mean? Physically, you know what I mean? And now I'm working so much, I'm fatigued spiritually. It was just, I went through a whole process, a tumble. And then I had to just figure it all out and put everything into proper balance and control self. Once I began to control how I reacted to the things that was going around, once I controlled and disciplined my life, started working out and creating a more set schedule, and just and getting help at work and putting the right people in the right places, started teaching people and training people, and then things started to really get into play, and then got better, and I was able to control more so me and discipline myself more to handle what came up.
You said something really. I'm definitely with you because we lost you for a second. You said something that hit it on the nail. Is that you said you work so hard, and I want people to understand and hear this. that you worked so hard that you got shingles, you know.
Yeah.
But in that working hard, because I want people to understand that you got to work hard for your business. But I like how you said that you have to rely on the Lord to get you through
Yeah.
the rest of your body. So I want people to know two things: that you got to work hard for things to come to fruition, but at the same time, you got to balance that with your time and dependence
Yeah.
upon the Lord. Like I'm glad you said that, because like, man,
Hey,
I never heard somebody work so hard they got shingles. I have.
as my wife, yo, that's only one thing that happened to me physically. It's plenty of things that happened to me physically in my health, high blood pressure. You know what I'm saying? I got a lot of things that happened to me physically through starting my own business. It's been the gift and the curse at the same time. But now at this stage you begin to get to, you go through a learning curve. And once you get over that hump and things start to level out and you become not from a arrogant place, but a master of your craft. And it's more so things start to flow and it's not a burden. You know what I mean? But man, listening to A.R. Bernard the other day, he was talking about when Adam and Eve were in the garden and the serpent had them eat from the tree. And at that moment, the curse was that, Eve would have pain and childbearing, but Adam had to work and till the ground at this point. Man had to till the ground. Before that, they didn't have any lack of resources in the garden. They had everything they needed given to them. They had abundance. They had overflow. You know what I'm saying? So once we ate from that fruit, we then had to till and work the ground. So the point that he was trying to make was that Jesus said that the poor will always be with you, but me you only have for a moment. So the standard is that the poor will always be with you, right? So poverty is the entry level that we come in. We come into the world with whatever our parents have until we can adopt whatever our own, acquire our own. But we start out in poverty. That's the base point for most people. Not everybody starts out rich. You know what I'm saying? So the poor will always be with you. So at that point, we start in poverty, but it's how hard you work your ground. It's how hard you work your gifts. It's what you do with your talents. Is how you produce wealth. You know what I'm saying? So we all have to work. And it started right then and there in the garden when we got, the abundance we were in, we got casted down, So, but that hard work has always been there since the beginning. It's inevitable.
Olin, when we lost you, I went on to Ski and asked him the question. Kind of give us an idea of your journey. What were some of the things that you had to fight against to get where you are? So you can reveal how much you want about your personal. Up to you, whatever story you want to tell. But I want people to know that there's a challenge to get where you at, and if they can see that you overcame, maybe hopefully that will encourage them to continue fighting to even get to an even better stance.
Well, I like to talk about what he said about having the knowledge and the information, because that is definitely key. And what also helps with that is having the right people in your corner. I was able to lean on some people in my corner that asked for this help and the stuff that I did not have the full knowledge in. And that kept me from falling into traps of different areas, as far as like insurance wise and stuff like that. But if I did not have the information, I did not have people in my corner, the right people in my corner, backing me up, letting me know, then the things could have failed before it even started. So definitely having the right people, like-minded people in your corner, definitely is a definite guarantee and a definite help. I also like to say that like he said, you got to work hard. You really do. Part of me was, no matter where I was at, I always worked hard. I always gave my best. I always treated it like it was my own, even though I was working with somebody else. But being able to do that for yourself, it's another kind of reward. And one of the things I've ran into, like Ski said, like my time became very small. I came home and all it was just sleep. I wasn't really spending time with family, my son, my wife, and it was just work, sleep, work, sleep, work, sleep. That was it. And like I said, it's a good prop. It feels good, rewarding. It feels like, hey, I'm accomplishing something. I'm going at something. But at the same time, I knew within myself that I didn't want to neglect my family as well. So it was at the point in time, and I was like, well, okay. And I also had a spiritual leader in that. He gave me, like, he really honed in on, like, okay, priorities. What's the priorities as a male and in the family with business and everything. So I was able to get information on that aspect in order to reiterate as far as who I am as a husband, as a father, and as a business owner.
Okay.
Hey,
So sorry. Go ahead. See.
go ahead. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just about to say. What major challenge that came to you? That you overcame. I know you said the family, and spending time with them. But what comes to mind when you say, "Man, I started this and I made it through. Now we're here." What challenge comes to mind? And I know, like Ski, he said, he just said, I didn't have to even ask him that question, because when he said that he got um, what was it called, Ski, that you had
Shingles.
shingles. When you got that, like that's a horrible thing. So what comes to
Yeah.
mind and challenge that you overcame? Doing
No
this?
problem. That was like I said. That would be the time with my family wise.
Okay, that's good. Go Ski.
Yeah, like Olin said, man, the everything come with.
And so, like I said,
Go ahead.
I think we lost him
can you hear
again.
me still? I'm there. Are you with me?
Yeah, you
All right, cool.
kind of
So what it was my. We there? Hello?
yeah, we hear you. You cut in and out.
Okay. So like I said, it was priorities with my family, man. I had to really, really sit back and get that in line, because even though I wanted to push the business, I really wanted to do that. I just did not want to neglect my family in the end process. So we being able to cut time. It's like, okay, I got to shut this down on certain days. Not at all. Certain times I got to cut it down, and I really had to start putting them first. Even went to the point where I was working 9 to 5, but I'm at the point where at the regular 9 to 5, I'm just going to have to let that go. And I was using it kind of like a safe shield, just in case the business wasn't, just in case the business wasn't. But that 9 to 5 and the business and family just wasn't really going to mesh so together. So now I'm in a process of cutting off the 9 to 5. Going into the business full time, and that will leave more time for me to spend time with family. Because trying to do all three just because I wanted that safety net, it just wasn't going to. Something was getting lost in the process, and that was my family, and I did not want that to take place. So I had to go out in another step of faith by leaving that safety net and entering what he wants me to do for time, while not sacrificing my family.
Good point. Go Ski. I know you had something that you wanted to add.
Um, yeah, like Olin said, he had the opportunity to make a choice. You know what I mean? Every person is different. Consider this: before Jesus met Peter and he was on the boat, right? He was fishing every day with his normal self, his normal crew, and he was catching his normal amount of fish. Right? Right? He encounters Jesus and his nets is filled to the point where they broke. They just tripled 100 times their work with the same crew, with the same people. You understand what I'm saying? Like, it's a blessing, but you don't have a choice now. You still got to do more work. So his business started to pick up, but who was there to help him? You know what I'm saying? With those extra fish. Now, yes, that's great. So like, sometimes you don't have the choice. And in that, you go through that cycle. You have to find that grounded place, like Olin did very quickly on, of making the distinction of time and dividing up the time and setting time in place, because man, it goes by so fast when you own a business, and so many things can happen so quickly that time gets away from you. But if you have the opportunity to make the choice, make it now and set those boundaries in place. But again, it's going to be, you don't know, you know what I mean? Like before, Peter had help, and then he had Jesus, and then boom, the nets was breaking so much fish, and then you don't know what's going to happen next.
All right. Ola, you got anything to add before we move to the next question? Okay. So this one, like I said, based on what you can answer this question. Is like we kind of briefly talked about it, but what are some of the things that a person needs to do, physically before they even try to go to a bank? And I know you mentioned like Ski, like how you went down to the courthouse and got papers for vendors and all that type of stuff. What are some? Of course, we're not gonna do like a step by step thing, but what's some just quick information that you can give people, like make sure you do this, make sure you do
Yeah.
that. Yes, you can.
So I went down to the courthouse and stuff once I had a good idea on what type of business I wanted to do. Then I knew what direction I wanted to go in. But prior to that, what people, I don't really share too much. Sometimes I do, but I bought the food trailer for Godfish when I was living in Baltimore. It was back then that the Lord told me to start a food truck. I just didn't know what I was going to be doing. I didn't know what type of food I was going to be selling. I had no idea. I just knew a food truck, and I knew that I wanted to work for myself. So those were my strong desires inside of me and my passions inside of me. So I bought my trailer for my business 3.5 years before I actually started the business or even knew what the business was going to be or what I was going to sell. So in that time, I knew I was going to need like a hood system. I knew I was going to need fire suppression system. There were certain things that was basics that I knew I was going to need, even though I didn't have a whole idea which direction I was going in with the whole food truck thing. So those things I went ahead and put it in place. So as I was acquiring some money here and there, I would put it aside and put it into the food truck. So when it did come time for me to fully start the business, I probably, needed like $15,000 to $20,000. It was really minimum because I was building up over the years. And then, as that time came to a crunch and the Lord spoke to me even more clearly on what I should be doing, and the got fish thing came about, and then, the fish and everything else came about, it was just like, okay, now I know exactly what I need. I know what equipment I need. I know what utensils I need. So as I operated in faith towards the vision, it became more clear and more direct in what I should and should not be getting or should and should not be doing. You know what I mean? So at that point, I was able to, take a line of credit out and go ahead and purchase the things that I know I needed and actually physically start the business. So I over a course of 4 year time, I developed the business into what the actual truck to use it. So it took me quite a while. And then once I actually got into it, it was like, okay, here we are. And man, those first couple of months is rough. Don't nobody know you. You just out there and you put all your chips in this basket and it's like, yo, it ain't working. And it ain't working and it ain't working. And you coming home, you stressed and you out there for hours and it ain't working. And I'm like, man, okay. And then all of a sudden, the net is busting and it's on from that point, you know what I mean? And here's the Lord, so but and it was different stages for me. I didn't have the whole vision. I just had the idea and I knew what direction I need to go in with the idea. And then as I went in that direction with the idea, the vision became more clear. Okay, I'm selling fish. I'm selling food. Okay, I need to go down here and get a food vendor's packet and equip myself this way. Okay, they got meal tax. So it was like from faith to faith, from faith to faith. You just move from each direction. And as you move, it became, you get closer, it gets more revealed. You get closer, it gets more, you know what I mean? And the direction becomes more clear.
Okay, go ahead, Ski. I know you probably say some of the same lines, but I want to, of course, hear from you.
Well, for me, it's a little different because my startup cost is not very high. So it was more so for me was where to market, how to market, and that just dropped in my lap kind of. I would think I was at the I was getting some tires or something like that, and I saw a guy pull up. He said AV, TV mountains, stuff like that. He had a sign on the truck. I said, hey man, well, where you market? Da, 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 da. He just said thumbtack, one word. I was just like, oh, okay. And that right there, that just really got the ball rolling. Again, it started off with just doing simple TV mounts and then sound systems and now home theaters, home automation, security. It's just like and all that. And to be honest, I really didn't see it be able to go that far and that branch that different ways. But Ski said a lot of things. It's a developing process. It's always developing because there's like I said, I didn't have everything that I needed at first. Didn't even know everything that I needed at first. But as time progressed, things progressed, and I was able to and different levels progress. It basically is. Don't expect to go in it all the way at the jump at the start of it. Don't think you got to have all your bags and the chips and the jump and the start of it. Things progress as they progress, and allow them to progress and go through the progression.
All right. I got a question that somebody posted, so I'm gonna get to this, but I want to ask, or can you guys tell me? I know this is general, but so what are some of the licenses that somebody probably need to go after to start? And I know that, like I said, I know Ski, you said that's different, but how to obtain those different licenses? Ski, you got license, you probably, Olin, you got some license. What are some things, that you had to get legally to kind of start your business? Because I'm just trying to think of information that may encourage or kind of give people an idea to steer in, and then I'll ask the question from my audience.
Licenses is based upon different what your avenue is, but the one thing is every business needs insurance. So that's the first thing. No matter what you're doing, you need to have insurance. Licensing, as far as me is concerned, you need home improvement type of license, and that comes with its own caveat of details you got to go through and stuff that you have to go through in order to apply stuff like that. A lot of times it's experience, job experience, and you got to take a test. Normally, that's how general my type or my field licenses handle. I'm not sure in Ski's field how that goes.
Yeah, I'm in the restaurant industry, so you got to get just a general business license for your restaurant. You go right down to the city hall, any city hall, wherever you live at, you can get licensing done there for any business. So city hall is there, but like Olin said, you don't use the word license without insurance. So license and insurance is good. So when you search for those licenses down at city hall, they usually have like an attachment list. And like I said, get a for me, it's called a vendor's packet because I'm in food vending. But then they have packets for us with a list of rules and, license and things you may need, or insurance, people you can reach out to. But man, it's 2021, so Google is your friend. You can Google anything and search anything. But like, Olin said, license and insurance go together.
Okay. Okay, here's the question from my audience. How do you know when you need help, and what does prayer for seeking help look like? Ooh. You need me to repeat that one?
Now, how do you know you need help?
Yeah,
And
I
what
need
is
help.
prayer?
And what does prayer look like when you're seeking help?
Who's going first?
I'll let you take it first.
The wise man said you can go ski. Go
Yeah. How do you? I mean, yourself can identify when you need help. You know what I mean? That's a basic need. Those are your senses. You know what I mean? So you yourself can identify when you can need help, but you identify when you need help when you're not operating out of a certain standard that you have set in place for your brand to operate from, a certain code of ethic, a level of integrity. So if you're not operating out of those from your operations manual and these types of things and what you believe in, if you're cutting corners on your belief system and your values, then that's when you need help. But as far as identifying that, that's for you to identify, because I mean, they're your values and that's your level of integrity and what you're willing to sacrifice, So the answer to that first part is you have to identify when you need help, because you have to be in tune with yourself and with your business. And then the second part, what does prayer look like? What does prayer for that look like? Identifying the need, asking God directly and specifically for what it is that you see, and asking him to reveal to you what it is that you may not see. Give him understand. Ask for understanding. The Bible says that, in all you're getting, get understanding. So if you can get understanding of what's going on, or an understanding of your weakness or your area of opportunity, an understanding of what's happening, then you can figure it out from that point on. Don't look for God to solve your problems for you, or to hit a switch for you. Don't look for some crazy miracle person to come in and do it for you. No, the work is going to be before you. He's going to give you energy. So you want to pray for energy. You want to pray for clear thoughts and a clear mind, to be able to think quickly and troubleshoot problems. You want to pray for the ability to discern people who are there to help you and who are not there to help you. So these are just some of the things that you can ask the Lord for. But in that prayer, you're going to get opportunity to fulfill what it is you're looking for. It's not going to be answered prayer is done for you. It's answered prayer. Here's the opportunity for you to gain exactly what you're asking me for. Now do it, and you will obtain it and receive it, and it'll be yours.
All right. Before you go, Olin, I just want to make a comment to that as well, because you said something at the end, Olin, that you said is yours, and I want viewers to know that when you start in business or anything, of course, you guys know I do a lot of writing, but when you're working towards this idea of business and dream, you got to understand that it's yours, and when you bring people on, you got to understand that it's yours, and that people don't change the vision or the dream or the idea that the Lord gave you. And people going to work at different speeds, and if you bring somebody on board and you're asking for help, you got to make sure that person know what speed you're working at and what's the vision, so that they don't change your vision. I mean, think about when Jesus, he was working, he had a vision, and he knew what his job was, and he had to do it. He had to do it himself, but he brought the disciples on. And if you think about Peter always try to change Jesus' vision. Oh Lord, you don't have to go to the cross. So you're gonna have people that's working with you, but they're gonna try to change, or may try to change what you're supposed to be doing. And I just want to input that it's your idea, and you have to go after it. And so when you're seeking help, make sure that person is on board and they know exactly what you want to do. Okay.
That's right on. That's right on point. And just to piggyback off what you're saying, another example that we see in the Bible was when God used Moses to take the children of Israel out of Egypt. He had a plan for them, right? You know what I mean? To take them to the promised land and for him to be their God. But when Moses went up on the mountain to talk to God and left the people down there, they started grumbling. And Aaron, they came back down and they made a golden calf. So they created a whole nother God and made a whole nother plan. So like you said, like that just resonated with me when you said that. Like, people are gonna come in, try to change the plan, try to change the vision, but remain to what God showed you. That's good, dude.
Go ahead, Olin. I don't want to forget your input.
And that was right on time, because I'm at the stage where I am asking, like, I've been asking him, like, about that time I really do need help, and I know exactly like the kind of help I need, or what exactly I need to do to train and everything like that. So I'm being specific as possible as far as what my needs are. That's something I've been learning just spiritually across the board. When to pray, it's okay to be specific. I was the type of person that, okay, maybe I don't want to be too specific, but I'm starting to learn just all across the board, outside of business and spiritually, period. Be specific, and be specific as possible as you can. And so that's where I'm at. I'm at the point where I really do need help. And then me being full-time, I'd be able to implement more time into training. And so I'm asking them, I'm being specific, like, hey, I really need this. This is what I need. You already know my future goals. So I can't do that on my own. So I really do need help. I need help on this. I need help with this. I need help with that. I need these type of people with this kind of heart. I need these type of people with this kind of zeal. I need this type of people with this kind of work ethic, because this is the type of vision of my company that I want.
Yeah. Before I got another question, and before I go to this question, I want to make this statement that when I know the person said, asking about prayer when you're trying to get help, we just have to know this is spiritual. This is for believers, that you can understand that you can see something good in somebody and you can bring them on, but you got to also have discernment in you to know where to put that person at, or to release that person. So you can have discernment. We're supposed to have discernment. And I think when you start, you should feel free enough that you can say, let me try this person. Let me, try this person. But once again, you still carrying you're still at the helm of the ship. You're directing where the ship should go. But you can see tasks in people. There's some things, that I may do. And I see somebody's good at something. I'll ask to work with them. I'll see, hey, let's do a test drive or whatever to see. And then based on my discernment, based on what I see from them, I can make a decision if I want to keep them or bring them aboard or continue working with them. So yes, I think prayer is a big part of it, but I think the bigger part is us being able to discern and understand when a person is going to either bring life to your promise, or they're going to be, a cancer and then you have discernment. We know discernment is the idea of cutting, so you can cut them away or you can keep them. So build up your
I got someone to answer that.
Go ahead, O.
And it's not just employees too, because it's customers as well. Me and my wife, we learned very early on, we don't chase the money.
Yeah, you just told me this story not too long ago.
We don't chase the money. No, if there's a job, I don't care how lucrative it is, but if we feel something like, we will turn the job down. We will turn the job down. So you got to have discernment on your employees and clients.
Yeah.
Good point.
Very true.
So the question that the our audience asks says, listening to Ski and Olin's testimony, would you say that favor plays a part in a successful business? So I'm assuming they talking about favor from God, but if you have two aspects of that question, whether favor from God or favor from people, what do you know? Olin, I'm gonna start with you. You put it on ski last time, so I'm gonna start with you. Would you say that favor plays a part in a successful business?
I think so, because if you would have asked me where would I be as far as business 7 months from now, I would not have dreamed I'd be where I'm at now, right now. So I definitely feel favored. Ain't no way I made it this far, this fast without favor. So my answer would be most definitely yes. And it could be just biased because of my situation. I don't know, but that's all I have to go off is my situation. And I definitely feel there's no way I would have made it this far without him being favored by him.
Facts. Yeah, I mean, it's the favor of the Lord, it's the hand of the Lord. It's really no other way to put it besides the Lord. If you know anything that God gives you, any vision that He gives you, it will be tried. Anything that God gives you is going to be tried. So it's going to go through a process and a cycle. But you have to stay in the cycle. You know what I mean? He's not going to give you more than you can bear, not more than you can handle. So it may look overwhelming to you, it may feel overwhelming to you, but you're in a cycle. You're in a season. It's a season for everything. It's a time for everything. So if you're in the season of working hard, and then work hard, because then it'll be a season to replenish later. So it's going to be hard work, and the only way you're going to do it is through the favor of the Lord. It's no other way. You know what I mean? It's the grace. Paul said, "I labored more than you all, but yet not I." It was the grace of the Lord that was with me. You know what I mean? So like, it's no other way to do it besides with the favor of God. And if it came from God, then you have the favor of God.
All right. I want to piggyback off that, and like I know a lot of people, like as believers, we say a lot of things like favor and so forth. But as you say that both of you guys were given the ideal, or the Lord put in you to start your own business, and you were guided by that. And I think that's the favor. I don't think you need more favor after that, because if He gives you that, that means He's going to help you through the rest of it. An example that He uses is that if a king gives his princess or his prince, to be a region of an area, He's gonna give him all the resources to continue to rule that area. You don't have to go back and say, "Oh, now I need."
Put your feet, it will be blessed.
Yeah, exactly.
When you coming or you going. If He gave it to you, it's blessed already. Just go through the cycle.
Let me say something, because I know I have a few people that's in the same field, and they've been at it for years. And I tell them about where I'm at, like I'm on Thumbtack, this, and they're like, "Really, that worked for you? That didn't work for me." I'm like, "Really?" Because it's blasting over here. Like I ain't got the time to fill everybody's request. Like, but so that's nothing but favor. They've been at it for years, and they ain't getting the run as if as the way as we are. So
yeah,
it's definitely favor.
On the flip side of it, favor, that's the beginning of it. You know what I mean? Because it's everything first that happens to a believer is first spiritually. So yes, favor is first, but on the flip side of that, man, you got to have a good product, or you got to have a good service. You got to have professional. You got to have integrity. You got to stand on your Christian values and what you believe in. You got to have a good system that people actually want to use. It has to be something desirable. You know what I mean? It can't just be something like you just created it and you wanted to work. You know what I mean? It has to be something in demand. Like you have to make it what it needs to be, and then the Lord will do the rest. So it's like you partner with that favor and you do the work, and you believe and you pray and you follow the instruction I did, and it manifests. But it's a multitude of things.
Yeah. I just wanted people to clarify for other audience that, like, yeah, it's favor, but you still have, like you said, you still have to work. You have to make sure that you have.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
hey, sacrifice.
Uh-huh.
If I can use one word in business, it's sacrifice, and that'd be the first word I use in business, and it'd be the last word I use in business. You had this word, and it's just sacrifice.
Yeah, it takes a lot. I mean, there's been times when I get a customer call, whatever, like that, 12 o'clock at night, and I'm answering it. I'm texting. I'm like, just it's the dedication, really.
Yeah.
So the favor is that the Lord has, first of all, gave you an idea. Like, I mean, that's the favor. Like, He's like, nope, this person's gonna be good at this. I'm gonna hand it off to them. That's the favor, but we got to walk it out. You know what I mean? I know we asked for help throughout it, but if He gave it to us, that means He already knows that we can handle it. And as Ski and Olin said at the beginning, it's a mind thing that you have to believe that you can handle it, but also, be sincere, have a good product, or learn how to push that product as well. So, good question, right there. Before we go, we got one. We have one more question. Let me see. Some more stuff is coming up. You to somebody said, listening to you two, I'm reminded of Jesus telling Peter to cast a net. Yeah, Ski
Yeah.
brought that up already. Ski
So
brought
I'm
that
saying,
the weight, like,
think about that, man. Think about that. You know, he was out there with his normal crew. Every day you doing business, and every day is normal business as usual. And then one day the cup overflows and it never stops. Like,
yeah,
man, you can't
exactly.
prepare for that. How do you even stop getting the fish to go hire somebody?
That's it's key. You said something that's really important that I don't think people think about. People talk about the overflow, but
Yeah,
you say the same
overflow
thing.
is
When that
dangerous, bro. You can
overflow,
drown in the overflow.
you can drown in the overflow. Right? People,
You'll burn
like,
yourself on the
and then
overflow.
think about all the stuff the church says. You know, the blessing.
Yeah,
Let the windows of heaven open. It's like if
open
heaven
up.
fell on,
Let my cup overrun it, right? You want your cup?
yeah,
Yeah.
can you actually handle if heaven fall on you? Can you handle that?
No.
So that's a mental thing. That's a spiritual
No,
thing.
you cannot, bro. And that's why you need the paper right there. Real talk.
So like I said, we're pushing an hour. We normally go to an hour. Like I said, there's no time limit, but it's kind of working out perfect. The last question is, what advice would you give to anyone who wants to start a business regarding what to consider before worrying about the financial startup? Like, what comes to mind before you the financial thing? What's the main thing that comes to your mind, and what advice you would give to listeners before you even think about money in general? What would you push?
Like most of the things we already said, you know what I mean? It's really the order of how it plays out for you. Cause like I said, I had an internal passion of I wanted to do a food truck. I didn't know where or when or how. So I just got a box trailer to begin building the food truck. I didn't know how big or anything. I just leaped out there. But the vision comes in phases. So being able to prepare for it is you have to really, wherever you are in it, you have to just take those steps as of where you are in the vision and going forward in that way.
Yeah, I don't really have much to add to that. You just be prepared and be ready, I guess. That's the best I can say. Just be ready. Always be ready.
You just got it really is, like I said, you have to have it's stages of the vision, it's stages of starting a business. You have to identify first what stage you in and go from there, because you can be in a planning stage. Okay, if you're in a planning stage, this is the stage where you should be educating yourself and you should be getting as much knowledge about your business as possible, thinking about your game plan, your marketing strategy, what your needs are. You know what I mean? You going, and then you get into your next stage where you're implementing and you planned it. Now I'm putting this thing into implementation. I'm going out to get business license now. I want to be certified in this area. You know what I mean? I'm getting certifications. Okay, now you implemented these things. Now I want to see them through. You're going through, and you want to finish the project. So it's different stages of the project. And each stage is things that you need to gather.
And there's no such thing as failing, because that's just a step that is like, okay, that's a learning tool. I remember we went to not doing contracts and people counseling. We run into issues. It's like, okay, fine. We went to the next step. We got contracts. Every job now has a contract, like service agreement. Like, so nothing is failing. No, it was just okay. What learning process?
Learning process, yeah. You get over that learning curve, and then things smooth out once you got certain policies and procedures in place. You get a code of ethics. You get a work standard. You get some a work ethic on how people should work, and things like that. And it begins to flow as you structure it. As you said, ordering your business, it'll flow even more. If you don't have any order in the business and it's chaotic, it's not going to work.
All right. So, before we close, I know it's kind of similar, but that question, I know it was kind of answered previously, but I kind of wanted to answer it again to kind of round up the show, kind of like a conclusion. But are there any last minute things that that's on your heart that you may want to say? Can you hear me, Ski?
Yeah, it's on me or Olin.
Oh, Olin, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if he's cutting out or if he's having connection.
Okay.
So yeah.
What is there any last minute things that you want that I want to say?
Yeah, last minute things. Anything that's on your heart concerning business and starting.
Yeah. If God gave you a business, it's treated like a ministry. It's ministry. First, if it's God given, and if you're a believer, and God gave you a vision or he gave you a word to start a business, that's your ministry. That's your area where you're supposed to impact people's lives. That's your area of impact on the economic system. That's your area of impact in that community, in that city, in that region. That is your ministry. You are an example of Christ through business. So that's that. If I can say anything else, treat it like a ministry. And you should treat it like a ministry because you are going to need accountability to someone over you. And if you are the owner and the boss and you don't have anyone to answer to, then you are going to be reckless and you're going to make mistakes. The Lord is your head, right? Christ is the head of every man. Christ is the head of every man. Man is the head of woman, right? So if Christ is our head, right, and we are the owners of business, then we should answer to Christ, and that we should carry the ministry, the business as a ministry, and we answer to Christ. And we wouldn't treat people of the ministry wrong, and so we shouldn't treat employees wrong. We wouldn't treat people in the congregation wrong, so we shouldn't treat our customers wrong. You know what I'm saying? So there's going to be times as a leader, a Christian leader, you're going to need to minister into people's lives. You're going to have to pour into them because they're pouring into your business, and you're going to have to pour into them. It's a cycle. It's give and take. We're all part of the body, so when one rejoices, one mourns, we all mourn. One rejoices, we all rejoice. So like I said, treat it like a ministry. That's the best thing I can tell you. And if you treat it as such, you'll love it as such, and you'll appreciate it as such, and you'll value it, and then it will yield the proper fruit for you in your life and in the lives of your family and in the lives of the family of the people connected to it. It'll be a good thing for everybody, yeah.
All right. So, Ola, I don't know if you heard it. What I asked was just what are some last minute things that you would like to say to those listening? I actually, some more questions came through. So, since we've answered this, we can continue with it, and then I'll ask these questions. But what are some things that on your heart, your last minute things, something that you want the audience to hear, and it can be regarding anything when looking at starting your own business?
Not all advice is good advice. So you got to be mindful and always fact check anything that you may hear and may come across, and be mindful who you keep around you, because not everybody that say they for you are not always for you. And so and don't change the business or who you are for anything or for some outside. Basically, don't change for money. Don't change for for a job or anything like that. No, you are who you are, and that goes with what Ski was saying. You are the face of the Christianity. You are the embodiment that going out into the community. Don't be afraid to reach out spiritually to anybody. Don't be afraid to pray for somebody spiritually. Just because you're in the business. No, that's why you had the business as a means for outreach. So don't be afraid to do so. Even those in your jobs and stuff. This is your business. This is who you are. This is your name. Carry it as such.
Excuse me, Damon. Would the pastor run the church without God? Or let me rephrase that. Should the pastor run the church without God?
Of course, I would say no. You can't do it.
Right. Okay. So if this is our ministry, right? How can we run it without God? It's the head. He's the head, man. We have to have somebody to answer to. You treat your business like a ministry. And like Olin said, if you're in ministry, right, you're in relationship with God. So that means you're in discernment. You're in these areas already. And you have the spirit of wisdom. You know what I mean? These things will be with you as you go out. So that way you can carry the business the right way and carry the ministry the right way. The church is a business. You know what I mean? It's a ministry also. So, I mean, you got to carry it like that, man. You can't run it without God.
Yeah, Olin, you said it like the business is ministry, and we got to think about, yes, the Lord wants us happy, He wants us prosperous, but when He give you something, it's also to help fund the ministry go forward. And I just think
of the body.
Yep, and I think Silas, who he worked hard to get money to Paul. So you can see it that way. It's always the idea that it's a church, and that you even if you're just doing something to give to the homeless or whatever it may be. God put you in a position to come up with whatever you have, so that you can benefit His ministry somehow. He didn't give it to you so you can take everything and run with it. He didn't give Saul the kingdom so Saul can become powerful and leave him.
Right.
Always, I'm giving you the kingdom so that you can get the people under your kingdom to come to me. So so that was good stuff there, Olin. So we have two questions. One question would be, Um, will you support Kingdom Friends? Sorry, will you support Kingdom Friends is important? I don't know if that's a question, but would you support other people that are friends in the kingdom? I guess is that important? It's kind of hard. I'll come back to that one. Here's another question: do you have any mentors?
This for me.
For both. Ski, go ahead. Since I asked Olin last time, is mentors important, and do you have mentors?
Yeah, mentors, I believe, are extremely important. Sadly to say that, I don't have any mentors in my industry. For me, and that's one of the things I prayed for early on was for a mentor, for mentors. But I didn't get a person per se. I have a good relationship with my pastor, but I have my wife, who we have a good relationship with, and we're in business together, so we have great talks. But I didn't get a mentor per se for my industry, and at the same time, on the flip side of that, I do have 15 years of service in my industry, and I started from the bottom lower level and work my way to a corporate level with a corporate recognized nationwide recognized companies. So I was able to work my way up from the bottom to the top in the food industry with those type of companies. But I have the experience. I didn't have a mentor per se in starting the business. The Lord fathered me a lot, man. It was really just following the instructions of God, and it was a faith thing for me. And you think of, a pastor, man, he has mentors, but at the same time, like he has a relationship with the Lord to feed his flock. You know what I mean? He has somebody that he's accountable to that's higher than him. And in that relationship, there's conversation there's things being said, there's things being done in that relationship to help mold you, to help shape you in business and in ministry. So I have people that I can talk to. I met a lot of people in the business that I would gain and gather information from, you know what I mean? Things like that, but not a solid mentor in my industry per se. But like I said, being fathered by the Lord and having a good relationship with my pastor, having a strong marriage really helped me out. And then having, people in your corner, like Olin said, that you can rely on and pull on. But mentors are important. I'm not saying it. It's different situation.
Yeah, mentors are definitely important, but mentors doesn't take the place of God either. So they always come second to God, because that's your big main mentor right there. But mentors are definitely important. They should be out even outside of business. Like I have a mentor for marriage. I have a mentor for a man. Period. I have a mentor for a father. I have mentors for his business. I mean, even have people that I call on as far as in different parts of the business, for the electrical, for different people that I might call on. So it doesn't even have to be one person for everything. But you got people that, okay, I'll talk to him as far as when when I need marriage counseling. I talk to this person when I need consulting in the business side. So mentors, I definitely think mentors are definitely key and important, but even still, God is the one that takes precedence in that field, in that relationship. And my wife, that's my right hand goon right there. I mean, she knows in and everything. I I remember one time it was in the job, and just something just went wrong. And she was actually in the car this time. She rolled out with me this job, and it just went wrong. It went sideways real quick. I was just like, oh my God, I was stressing out. First person I hit, I went outside to the car like, babe, I messed up. It's like, nah, it's good. We good. We're going to get through this. I'm like, that's my number one right there. That's my number one. Every time I have a problem, I hit her up like, babe, what I'm going to do is like, you got this. You know what you got to do. I got faith in you. Have faith in yourself. You got it. Go. But do it.
Hey, Olin, when it went left, how could you have prepared for that? Huh? Tell me.
Sure.
You see what I'm saying? Like you don't. It's like some things, man, you can't even prepare for. But the preparation is in you. That's the point I want to make. Is how you react to that situation determines the outcome, man. Man, Miles Monroe, he said, man, life isn't as bad as you think it is, but it is as bad as you think it is. You know what I'm saying? Is how you're gonna react. It's all up here, man. It's the mental game, yo. And at the end of the day, if when S happens, because it's just going to happen. And when it happens, you know what I'm saying? And when it happens, how are you going to react to it? Are you going to cry about it? You going to get mad about it? You know what I'm saying? You're going to look at it. You want to smell it. You know what I'm saying? Like, what you going to do, yo? You know what I'm saying? At some point, you got to do something. And it's how you react and how fast you react determines that outcome, man. It's not how you fall, bro. It's how you get up.
Yes,
Yeah, exactly.
I agree.
Because even the client was just like, "Hey, babe, it's not even that serious. It's
It happened, yo. It's nothing you can do.
It happened.
Yeah.
Even that, and when it's all said and done, you handled that so well. I'm glad you did. We still gonna take.
Lesson learned, right?
It's all on me. Like, you don't even have to pay nothing. It's like, nah, I got you. You handled it good. Let's go. I was like, dang. But it's all how you handle it. You're right.
Yeah. Hey, but there's no way to prepare for it.
Nah.
Besides yourself, yo. It's all about self, yo. Self-discipline.
Things is gonna happen. You can't stop it happening.
Yeah.
Just get back up, keep it rolling.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Like I said, I don't want to hold you up any further. I don't see no more comments come through, but everything that you guys said, I mean, like was on point. And, you know, it's like with that little thing just happened. You said, you know, you need to know and how you handle it. Like how you going to handle it, and when handling it, you need to know who's in your corner too. You know, what I mean? So that's what kind of both of you just said. Oh, you said your wife was there. I had the same situation with me. It happened multiple times. I messed with a lot of things. Well, I just get stuck and the wife is there. But like I said, once again, it's how you handle it. Like, and you have to know that your wife is there for support. So you have to handle it. You know, you can't freak out and run away and, you know, cancel deals and say, oh, I can't come there. Like, you gotta be able to handle it. And then if you need the support, you know who's in your corner to help you. So that's all good stuff there. So we talked about, first of all, you know, it's your vision, it's your dream. You got to know who's in your corner. You got to know who you want to work for. You got to understand that being that it's your vision, your dream, that, you know, you got to be the one to steer it. You know, that people take it out of it.
You got to come out with that the Mamba mentality every day, like that killer mentality. I'm here to kill it every day. You know what I'm saying? I'm here to be great today. I'm here to kill it today.
It's yours.
Whatever it is, I'm here to deliver the best product, the best service. You know what I'm saying? The best customer service, whatever it is, I'm here to kill it today. You know what I mean? It's like that mindset every single day and bringing that to the table, man. It's that energy you need.
Yeah, for us as believers, like I said, it's your baby. You want to take care of it. You know, like I said, we can't separate the church from us. And Jesus, you know, his business was the church, and he ain't let no fox attack his sheep. He was there. He was on watch. But it was his baby. He gave it his all to the point of death. I mean, that's how it is. You got when you start something, you start a business, you know, from what you guys been saying, it's your baby. And I like how you kept saying it. Like, you need to take care of it. You need to nurture it. I mean, Olin, you know, you talking about like how you put hours into it. You know, you gotta be willing to sacrifice for it. It's your baby, guys. When you start and you're thinking about your business. And another thing that you guys mentioned was you know, do your research. You know, read. You know, watch videos, reach out to other people. You know, Olin, you said you reached out to the guy to start your business. Reach out to people, you know, absorb it and understand that it doesn't happen overnight when you start your business. And that scheme, he said it took him 4 or 5 years, you know, before he even opened up his doors. 4 to 5 years, guys. Preparation is key. Go ahead, O.
I also got one more thing to add. Don't be afraid to be a mentor either. I'm sick and tired of people saying, well, I got here. I don't want nobody to butt up against my business and everything like that. No, I hate that. Please stop that. Because first of all, if God given it to you, there's more than enough out there for everybody. And if God given it to you, that means you already got yours stored up. Don't stop somebody else from getting theirs, please. If you can help them, help them. I'm sick and tired of everybody talking about, oh, I'm going to hold this and he got to get his. I got my.
Olin throwing blows out here.
He was the first person I called. I'm like, yo, I'm serious about this. What's some of the serious steps in business wise? And Ski gave me a whole list and rundown what I needed to do.
Yeah, man. You understand, like, say, you know, I'm gonna say this: the church is stingy. You know what I mean? But not understand that there's more than enough fish out there. You know, I say the same thing. I agree with you. There's more than enough fish out there. How many diamond companies there are? You know, there's enough diamonds out there. You know how many fish companies there are. And we got billions of people in the world, but we're still collecting fish. So there's more than enough. You know, you may help build somebody build up to help them build their dream. So mentor, give good advice. Don't be stingy, don't be Saul. Try to keep everything for yourself. It's the ministry. Like I said, we're doing the show right now. We're talking to believers, but we also want to encourage the unbeliever too. We're not just trying to keep everything for ourselves. So good point, O. Go ahead, Ski, and then we have another question that just came up. So go ahead.
Another good point to take note of in business is to walk around with a good temper and a good head on your shoulders. Be joyous, because your light is going to shine, and God is using you to start somebody else's passion, to ignite somebody else, because you saw somebody else and got and invigorated by them. You know what I mean? You saw somebody else's what they were doing, and you said, man, they can do it, I can do it. You saw hope in what they were doing. You saw passion in somebody else, and that's where you got a little bit of confidence to even consider what you were planning to do. You know what I mean? Like, we all use somebody else for inspiration. So understand that God is now, when you're in business, God is now using you for inspiration. So you should have a good head on your shoulders, and people are going to approach you for your time, and you have to discern who's there for your time and who's not there for your time, and not to waste that, but understand that you are now an inspiration, and you should carry yourself as such.
Someone said, I like when he said, when your cup overflows, and then he stated, who do you answer to? So somebody liked that when you said that. So that was good stuff. And I want to kind of, as we close, so like I said, I want to keep you guys, because I know you got families and it's a Sunday, that Olin, so you just said, we have to take rest in your business. Like, you think about, you do all the sacrificing, you get the right people, you do everything, but you also understand that you have to love this too.
Yeah.
You have to love it. You gotta be able to rest in it and be comfortable. Like, if you're working hard and you get tired of working hard and there's still no drive, then you gotta think about it. Like, this is what I want to do, because when you gotta die for it. If it's something that you love, you gotta be willing to die for it.
It's purpose. So you die for purpose.
Yeah, you gotta die with a purpose. So you gotta love it. You gotta be able to rest in that and let that, live in it, kind of live in that moment when you're doing it. So don't do all this hard work and then find out, like, this is something I don't want to lay down at. Lay down your life in. So and here's another comment. God want us to pass our blessings onto someone else, help them along the way. Yep.
Absolutely. The word says that a good man leaves an inheritance for his family, for his children's children.
Yeah,
a good man, that's what the word says. A good man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. So yeah, very true. And that's more so to say that God never gives you a vision for you. Yeah. He never blesses just you. It's for a body. It's for a region of people. It's for families. You know what I mean? And that's why you have to carry it as a ministry, to do the right thing for it, so that it can produce the right fruit. So that way it can go out and serve the people that it's supposed to serve, because it's not just about you.
It's not even that. I mean, think of it as an employee type of relationship feeling. You could get somebody that wants a job, and on paper look like, nah, this is not the right person you want to hire. You get you get somebody on paper like, yeah, this is the one you want to hire, but the Lord's saying, nah, you need to get this person. He wants you to reach this person for whatever reason, and that might be the ministry. Just that alone might be the ministry that person. Yeah. You got to be able to move like that.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying earlier. Don't be Saul. Don't want the kingdom for yourself.
Right.
Saul, he was focused on everything else except doing the kingdom.
Chasing
David around. You know what I mean? Like, chasing him around. Right. People were like, you got the kingdom. You got the kingdom. I want David. So the kingdom is the Lord.
Yeah. At the end of the day, you're a believer first. You're in business second. Your first primary role and responsibility is to advance the kingdom. Spread the gospel. You know what I'm saying? Make disciples. Like, that's your primary. So now you're in business to do those things. So that's how you got to look at it. You're here to serve.
So like I said, we're pushing it, guys. This was awesome. Like, I mean, this was a great discussion, and I hope people listen to this. I hope you take the wise counsel that was given. I mean, of course, everything is not necessarily black and white, but these guys have given you some good information on how to get started, how to prepare yourself spiritually, mentally, and then when you do get started and when you do get there, don't forget that your business is for the ministry.
Yeah,
for the ministry. Don't lose that. Like, God gave you the purpose to reach someone. Yes, you're going to have unbelievers. You're going to have people that come to you that don't believe in the same faith. But in your business, as Olin said, it's your lifestyle. Your lifestyle can reach people through your product, and most importantly, have a product that people want. Like have a product that people want. So, this is good stuff. Somebody asked me, did I talk about my business? No, I didn't, because I want other people to hear from a different perspective and not me. People can ask me questions all week. I'm here every Sunday, but this is about the ministry, and you guys did that, and I'm blessed. It was good just listening to you, give your testimony, give words of knowledge, and understand, like, guys, that your business comes from God, but be ready for that overflow.
Yeah.
And then when the overflow happens, please don't curse God and saying that it's getting too tough. It's the enemy coming against me. Please don't do that. Don't get all religious when the overflow will happen. Like, don't turn, like, realize and say you need to, you need to man up. You need to woman up. You need to get in the grind. You need to get in the ditches when that overflow hitting. That's what I'm taking from this.
Yeah, and now you got
watch the word speak. Yep.
There's two types of problems. You got good problems and you got bad problems, but they still problems.
Mm-hmm.
The good problem is that you got so much business that you can't handle it. A bad problem is you don't have no business.
And you can't handle it.
Yeah, so like it's a problem. You know what I'm saying?
So how do you handle it? How do you handle it?
Yeah, how you gonna react to the problem? That's the question. Your reaction, you self-discipline.
All right, guys. I love you, audience. We love you as well.
Thank you, bro.
We don't know what our next topic is going to be. Like I said, I'll send it out next week. But if you have comments, suggestions, if you would like to have Ski on again, please please share. I'll link to get his contact, with him. But he's definitely a good man. And he definitely know the business. Along with Olin as well, he knows the business. He's a good man. So please drop your topics, or if you have questions, put those questions in those comments and the questions below, and then, like I said, we can ask them, and I'll try to get those answers back from them later in the week. Thank you. Please please subscribe, please share, all those things, because we're just trying to get the word out, not for notoriety, but just to get the word out for the kingdom, that we as believers, the Lord wants us to succeed. He wants us to be happy. He wants us to do things with our lives, and not be bumping the log. So peace and blessings to everyone. Peace and blessings to Ski.
Peace.
And to all our viewers. And be blessed.
All right, bro.